The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Morning, everyone. We're going to get started in about a minute or two. Just waiting on a few more people to join the webinar. And we're just going to give it one more minute, and as the last few folks join in. Okay, I think we'll get started. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining this morning's webinar. My name is Jim Maury. I'm one of the principals of Cornerstone.IT, and we'll talk today about Citrix's ShareFile and some of the components that come with it, as well as the sort of the ecosystem around that. Today we're joined by, if you want to go to the next slide there, Ryan and Scott. I'll let you introduce yourselves.
Sure. So hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Ryan Fries. I'm a technology consultant with Cornerstone IT's distribution partner, Ingram Micro. So happy to be here today.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Scott Dawson. I'm a territory manager at Citrix. I'm looking forward to speaking with you all today about our ShareFile platform. And thanks for joining the webinar this morning.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah, so quick agenda for today. I'll talk a little bit about a little intro on Cornerstone IT. A lot of you folks' names look familiar, so may be familiar with Cornerstone as part of the ILTA organization, as well as talk a little about Citrix itself. The Citrix Workspace is really kind of a platform for end users to access their applications, their desktops, their files, kind of a central place to access all of their corporate data. We're going to talk specifically today about ShareFile. It's the type of technology is called content collaboration. Citrix markets it as content collaboration. Many of you know it as ShareFile. And we're going to talk about how it provides some secure and flexible work from home experience. We'll also talk about some of the features that we've been getting a lot of requests around. Its integration with Office 365, its e-signature capabilities. So we want to do a little bit of talk about some of those features that make ShareFile unique compared to some of the other products. And then we'll also give a demo. We always like to provide a nice demo of that. If there's any questions or you wanted to put in any chats, please feel free to put in any questions or chats in the question and chat windows. I'll monitor there while Scott and Ryan are doing the presentation. Just a quick blurb on Cornerstone. We've been in business for about 18 years at this point, so we've got a lot of experience in systems integration, business solution provider. We are a sort of a professional services-based organization, so we don't really just sell product. We're more about designing a solution, taking the industry's best practices, our best practices, integrate the systems, and then we also provide managed services, so ongoing support, monitoring, maintenance, security patches, et cetera. And there's some of our awards on the bottom there. And then Cornerstone, actually, we've been, since we started the business 18 years ago, a work from anywhere business. So we've got engineers and account managers throughout the United States, East Coast, West Coast. We also have a network operations center in the Philippines that are Cornerstone employees. So we've always worked from sort of work from anywhere, work from home. So we understand the technology that's involved, the security risks that are involved, how to keep employees engaged, and then how to ongoing and support your system. So as our marketing manager likes to say, we are work from anywhere. So before we get started, I wanted to do a quick poll just to understand what everybody uses today, whether they use ShareFile or some of the competing products. We want to do a quick poll. So if you would just select all that applies, what content collaboration solution are you using today? So do you use ShareFile and SharePoint, or in OneDrive or Box, Dropbox, or other types of content collaboration? That will help us understand our audience, so that as we present, we could touch on some of these other products if need be. Give me a minute to just finish up on that selection. Select as many as apply to you. Okay, Ryan, why don't I hand it over to, I'm sorry, am I handing it over to Scott? Apologies.
Yep, so just quick result from the poll. Looks like we have around 75% participation, which is awesome. Looks like we have around 84% saying they're using Citrix ShareFile. I see 42% SharePoint, 26% Microsoft OneDrive, 21% Box, Dropbox, and 32% other. So it doesn't equal 100 because people can choose multiple options. So it looks like a lot of participants today are using more than just one solution for their content and their data.
Got it. And that's a good point, because I think one of the things that we'll talk is sort of content sprawl and how ShareFile makes things a little bit easier to keep things organized. So with that, I will hand it over to Scott. Scott, all yours.
Thanks, Jim. So as Jim alluded to earlier in the webinar in his agenda or introduction, files and ShareFile are really just one component of the larger Citrix Workspace platform. So Citrix has done a lot of research over the last few years, and what we've found is that from enterprises up to the largest number of employees, some of the largest companies in the world like Amazon, Google, all the way down to small and medium-sized businesses that even have less than 50 employees, one of the primary hindrances of employee productivity is the fact that they have to go to so many different places to access all the applications that they need to get their work done, all the files that they need, manage multiple passwords across different platforms, access information from different devices. So all of that research has kind of led us to a conclusion that in order for employees to be as productive as possible, they need to have one place to go to access all of that information, so that they're not distracted by notifications in their email or notifications popping up from an application on their phone. They also need to be able to do their work from anywhere. So anytime they're working from a coffee shop, or in the current work from home scenario where pretty much everyone is working from home, they still need to be as productive as possible. So our vision is really about a single platform for work, where employees can access all of that information, all their apps, desktops, whether they're SaaS web applications or virtualized applications, through one single sign-on platform. And Files is obviously a part of any business. So Files plays a key role in the Workspace platform, and today we'll focus on what that looks like and share specifics around the ShareFile platform, as Jim mentioned. So again, just a little bit more to elaborate on how Citrix empowers employees to work better or be more productive. We also allow not only users to access their data from anywhere, but also you can store your data anywhere. Whether you want to leverage Azure instances provided by Citrix, or your own public cloud resources, or even private clouds, we allow you to be cloud agnostic and manage all of that data from a single pane of glass as well within the Workspace platform. And so speaking specifically to ShareFile and that data, really the goal of the platform is to ensure three things: simple access, security, as well as workflow automation, or basically quick turnaround of documents with whoever you're working on them with, whether it's clients or fellow employees within your organization. Really the idea behind ShareFile and the goal of it is to make it as simple but also secure as possible. And here I will turn it over to Ryan to talk through a little bit more about what that looks like.
Yep, thanks, Scott. So let's get into more specifics of different features and functionalities that ShareFile offers. And again, the goal of ShareFile is to support a flexible, secure work from home anywhere experience. And it looks like most of you are already familiar with what ShareFile is. I see 80% plus of you are saying you're using it today, which is awesome to see. But maybe as we go through today's webinar, maybe there's some features, functionality that you're not using today that we go through that maybe you can use in the future. And the first thing I want to highlight here is the real pane of glass of where you can access all of your files as well as your folders from any device. So you can see here in the screenshot, and Scott will show this as a part of the demo as well, so you can see what this looks like in real time. You have access to a variety of different file repositories here. So if we look here on the left of the screenshot here, we have access to OneDrive for Business, Exchange, Dropbox, Network Shares, Box. We have our personal folders as well as shared folders, which could be other employees within the organization, their content that they're sharing with us, all from this single pane of glass. So we can really bring everything together to give users access to a really distributed file network where data can live across multiple repositories. And I mentioned you can access these files from any device. And here's just a snippet of what it would look like to access ShareFile from a mobile device like a tablet or phone. So very similar experience. You can go into any of these network shares, open up your files, you can edit it right from the get-go. And again, you can be even mobile while you're working with your content. So Scott alluded to this earlier, but you can easily manage multiple data sources into your ShareFile account. So the screenshot earlier showed how we had access to all of these pieces of content across these different file repositories. So now let's look at a snapshot from an IT admin perspective of what it looks like to create a connector to one of these file repositories. So it really is as simple as clicking add or enable and just following the prompts of how to create that connector to SharePoint or OneDrive or whatever location you're trying to bring into your ShareFile platform. And of course, choosing where your data is actually located also becomes equally important. So again, Scott alluded to this earlier, but the beautiful thing about ShareFile is you can choose where you want your storage and your content to live, whether that be in a public cloud of choice, that could be an Azure instance that Citrix is managing on your behalf, that could be in a private cloud, it could be on-premise in your own file repositories, or some sort of hybrid approach where I've seen customers all the time, they have some content that lives on-premise and other content they're leveraging Citrix's cloud storage to store the rest of their content using the ShareFile platform. But I do want to talk about the 3 bullet points we have here. And the first one you can see is all about VPN-less access to all existing content. And I think this will become more apparent. Actually, it's probably apparent to a lot of you using ShareFile today. But ShareFile leverages SSL and TLS for their protocols to protect things like client authentication, authorization, and the actual transferring of files between employee and employer, employee and customer. It also ensures a high-grade level of encryption, up to 256-bit encryption, so you can ensure that all of your content is going to be secured as you're sharing that using the ShareFile platform. The next one here is that content is distributed, not centralized. I think the last 4 or 5 slides kind of prove that point, that we're not storing everything into one central location. We're managing everything from one central location, but the content can be distributed across multiple different repositories. And then lastly, that data does not need to be migrated within ShareFile, although you certainly can. So ShareFile does have a great data migration tool where if you wanted to migrate content that lives, let's say, in an on-prem file repository somewhere over to ShareFile, you can use this tool to do that, which will not only migrate the data, but it'll also migrate the permissions, the folder ownership from that network share you're trying to migrate from. So really cool stuff you can do with that migration tool.
Yeah, if I could just add to that to Ryan, so like you're describing here, there are still clients out there and IT staffs out there that really want to keep some of their data on-prem, so ShareFile will allow you to keep, if you have a specific client or matter that you need to keep on-prem, you can keep that in your data center while the rest of your data could be up in the cloud.
Awesome. So I'm a big fan of this slide. Let's build this out. I just think it looks cool. So I think this is a good slide for seeing a representation of just how ShareFile is utilized today across the globe. So if we look at the difference in dots here, we have, and I'm partially colorblind, so I'm not great with colors, but we have Citrix managed Azure storage zones. So those are some of those big dots there. I think that's a purple or blue. We have Citrix managed Amazon storage zones. So those are going to be the gray tinted ones there. And then we have customer managed storage zones. Really, again, it's spread across the globe, right? So it just shows the breadth of how ShareFile can be deployed and how customers are leveraging different options and alternatives for storing their content. So ShareFile also has a tool called the Citrix Files Drive Mapper, which essentially what it does is it makes the ShareFile content you have access to look like another drive on your local PC. So typically you would deploy as like an S drive for ShareFile, and if you access that drive, you have access to all of your content that's available to you via the ShareFile platform. So that can be your network shares, again, your OneDrive content, your shared folders from other employees that are sharing content with you, so on and so forth. And I believe Scott will be showing this feature as a part of the demonstration as well.
Hey, Ryan, I've got a quick question, and I think I could answer it myself. Does ShareFile integrate with DMS platforms, specifically iManage? So yes, there is actually there's a third-party product. I think it's from DocAuto that allows you to integrate ShareFile with iManage, allows you to drag and drop to and from ShareFile and iManage. There has been rumors for some time that Citrix was developing their own integration with iManage. I'm not sure if and when that will happen, but I know that there's at least one third-party vendor out there who integrates ShareFile with iManage.
Awesome, thanks, Jim. So a couple more things. Here we can see, and again, some more snapshots of how you can access and edit files from any device. So what's really cool with ShareFile, if you haven't tried it before, if you download the ShareFile app on your phone or your mobile device as an example, you can access your content like you would from your PC at home or your laptop device that your organization gives you access to. You can bring up a file, you can start editing that file, you can draw lines through it, and it's a very seamless experience across the board as you're working with the ShareFile platform. But this is probably the most pertinent feature in that ShareFile also provides employees as well as customers for that matter, the ability to electronically sign documents. And this becomes incredibly beneficial when sending your clients documents that require some sort of signature. So not only, if you think about it from an employee perspective, does it make it easier for them, but if you think about it from a customer perspective, it provides them with a much better user experience. So I'm sure most of you can relate in that you've worked with some sort of vendor company and they sent you documents, maybe you closed on a house, which I just did 3 months ago, and you have to sign all kinds of documents and they don't have that e-signature capability. So what do you have to do? You have to print out all of the documents, sign them manually. Hopefully you have a scanner at home. If you don't have a scanner at home, you're going to an Office Depot or a Staples to scan your documents just to send over your signature electronically to the brokerage firm, as an example, that you're leveraging for that closing. Not a really great customer experience. Whereas if we're using a technology like e-signature, electronic signature, we can simply send over the piece of content, have a user click a little field, electronically sign that document, and they're good to go. So it's just a much better user experience as customers are leveraging your services. So before I jump to the next slide, we do have another poll question here that I'm going to launch right now. And the question is, what is your firm using today for e-signature, if anything? So we'll go ahead and give it 20, 30 seconds or so to see if anyone is using e-signature today.
Certainly a feature that's becoming more and more popular in this work from home environment that we've been in this year.
All right, so we got around 60% participation so far. So thank you, everyone. Looks like the majority is going to DocuSign currently, with ShareFile a little bit right behind that, and also a lot of people still not using e-signature today, around a quarter. Awesome. So we will end the poll now. Thank you, everyone, for voting. So again, it looks like the majority is using DocuSign or ShareFile, and then following that, there's still a lot of no e-signature implementations. So we appreciate you answering that question and letting us know where you're at. All right, so this is my last slide for today, and this is around ShareFile's ability to gather feedback and speed up the legal approval process. So essentially, what ShareFile does is it has the ability to have an employee submit files for approval, either to an individual user, think of like a manager as an example, or a series of users, so maybe somebody that's working on a project together for approval. And during this process, what it does is the employee that submitted that file, they can collect.
We lose you, Ryan?
Freeze.
I think we lost Ryan.
We might have.
Let's just give it a second.
Sure.
Scott, do you have the ability to run the slide if we need to?
I do. Let me grab the document.
I think that was Ryan's last slide. That's timely, I think. Oh, looks like we lost Ryan. Sorry, folks, just give us a second. Scott takes over control here.
Am I back? Am I good to go?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you. Little blip down there.
Okay.
I was going to get handed over to.
Did I get through my slides?
I think we heard you wrapping up that last slide, saying this is my last slide, but then we lost you for the last 30 seconds.
Okay, cool. So Scott, I'll go ahead and then switch it over to you then.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ryan. So as Jim alluded to in the intro of the meeting, there are a lot of ways that really the whole Citrix portfolio and also ShareFile specifically can add value or extend the value of your Office 365 investment. So as more firms continue to leverage cloud services and move their environments to Office 365, ShareFile becomes a very valuable tool for them. A couple of the ways that we've already discussed are being able to have visibility into documents across the Office 365 suite in solutions like OneDrive and SharePoint. So the ability to log into ShareFile, not only see and access those documents, but also share those documents securely with clients or anybody else that you might be working on a project with. Similar to the VPN or the FTP conversation, or lack of VPN, I should say, that Ryan alluded to earlier. When you're accessing documents on the go from a tablet or a mobile device, you can have that same experience that you would if you were accessing them from your desktop computer or your laptop, and be able to edit and collaborate on those files on the go. And then Ryan also did a great job explaining the data storage flexibility that ShareFile provides, and the ability to manage your content from an on-premise file server or any cloud platforms that you might be leveraging.
Hey, Scott, we had a quick question. Maybe you could hit it while you're going through this. Is what features are sort of included with the core product, and are some of the features an additional cost?
Sure. So the features that we've discussed up to this point, with the exception of e-signature, all of the features are included in our base packaging that's called ShareFile Advanced. The e-signature and workflows capability that Ryan just discussed, so I should take back what I just said. E-signature and workflows are only available in our premium packaging. So ShareFile Premium is the name of the specific solution. That comes with all the same tools as ShareFile Advanced, with the additional ability for e-signature and document workflows for feedback and approvals.
Great, thank you.
So a little bit to elaborate on the mobility aspect of ShareFile, as well as its value add to Office 365. Essentially, you are able to access information from any device, and we've already talked through the unified access to all your file repositories. And the way that you do this is through the Citrix Files mobile application, which is downloadable from the App Store or the Google Play Store on your Android phone. And it allows you to just access that data, share it, send it for signature from wherever you are in the world, from any device.
Sweet.
So we'll get into this a little bit, and I think it will be better explained when I walk through the demo of the Citrix Files for Outlook tool. But this is probably the most commonly asked about and the most commonly used functionality within ShareFile across all of our customers. It is a very simple integration that takes about a minute to download. All you have to do is log into your account, restart Outlook, download the integration, and then reopen Outlook, and it'll be up and running. So I'll walk through in the demo a couple different ways to attach files, as well as request files back from third parties or clients that you might be dealing with. And effectively what the tool does is that when you send a file out, it stores the document within ShareFile so that that document is not actually sitting on your Exchange server. So what it does is it reduces your Exchange storage costs by not bogging down the Exchange server with large files that are upwards of like 2 gigs in size. You can easily send those through ShareFile and they won't be hitting your Exchange server. Ryan, did you want to cover this slide, or you want me to cover this one? I can take it.
You can cover this one if you'd like. Not I can.
Yep, I'll take it. So some additional functionality that Citrix has actually recently introduced, and this is a platform we're very excited about as well, is our analytics offering for ShareFile. And its focus is around security. So essentially what the platform does is takes a look at a user's usual activity when you first set up the analytics platform, which is an add-on to your ShareFile environment. And it assesses the user's typical behavior throughout a 2-week period. Things like login locations, what device your users are logging in from, and it creates a user risk score for each user and allows you to set notifications for, say, if a user logs in from a device that they don't normally log in from, that's not part of their usual profile, or say they log in from somewhere in Europe after they've only been accessing their data from New York for the past 3 months. The analytics platform can notice that and take a proactive action to do something like lock a user out of their session, send a notification to an admin, stop the excessive file download that the user might be undergoing. So really this becomes a pretty compelling story when you think about the increase in ransomware attacks and malware attacks during the work from home pandemic. Analytics becomes an extremely compelling way to be able to prevent your business from experiencing issues like that.
Nice.
And this slide serves as kind of a recap or wrap-up slide before we move into the demo. Essentially, Citrix ShareFile is exactly what the slide says, a complete content collaboration solution. So other solutions out there, things like OneDrive and SharePoint, they do provide you with simple file access and the ability to share and collaborate on those files within your teams and also share them externally as well. Citrix builds on that platform and enhances the value of those platforms with things like a portal that you can spin up for your clients to be able to log in and see only the files and folders that you make available to them. Also, e-signature, as Jim alluded to, and Ryan alluded to, is a huge value add for ShareFile above other file sharing platforms out there, and the ability to have that integrated within the file sharing platform. And then some of the automation and feedback and approval workflows that Ryan talked about, as well as the additional analytics platform that I just covered.
Right. Thanks, Scott. That's a good summary. And almost everybody uses OneDrive today, and understanding what some of the benefits are with ShareFile is important. Okay, so why don't we jump into the demo? Please, if anyone has any questions, I know we've had a couple of questions pop up. Hopefully we've answered those. Any additional questions, please pop them in the questions or chat. Either one, I'm monitoring both while we're doing the demo. Good hiking trip?
A little hiking trip.
Nice.
I hope you're able to see that.
Yep.
My browser should be showing now, is that correct?
Yes, I see Google right now. And a nice,
excellent
nice place I'd like to be.
Yeah, me too. So I'll walk through a handful of different tools, including all the ones that Ryan ran through. So we'll start with the ShareFile web interface or the web portal, followed by e-signature. And then we'll follow that with the Citrix Files application that Ryan spoke to as a mapped drive on your File Explorer. And then we'll end with the Outlook integration tool. So if I'm in a web browser, all I need to do to access my ShareFile account is go to the custom subdomain, which for my personal account is scottdawson.sharefile.com. So typically our customers will have it be the same as their subdomain for their website. I'll be taken to my login screen, and this page is custom brandable for your business as well. So you can put your company logo on the login screen. And then once I get signed in, I land on what we call your ShareFile Dashboard, which is custom brandable as well. I don't have any custom branding turned on currently, so I just have the default Citrix and ShareFile logos in the top left. And then over here is where all my information is organized. So most commonly, our customers will be working out of their folders tab, and they have personal folders available to users if you choose to make them available, as well as shared folders, which is where you would be sharing any files from or collaborating on any files with fellow employees or with clients. So in here, if I click into this example demo folder, I have a sample document in here. If I had more documents, they would all be listed out here with the ability to select all of them at once or just select one. I can come in here, click things like share. I can delete files from the platform if I have that ability, download them. You'll also notice I can set up email notifications for if a file is downloaded or uploaded to this folder. I can receive an email sent to me. And you can also, as an admin, manage who has access to the folders. So either client users or employee users. And you'll be able to see a full list as well as what permissions you've given them. So you can give them admin permissions to the folder, which would allow them to view, download, and upload everything. You can also restrict that if you'd like. So if you wanted to enable your employees to give clients only the ability to view files in the folder and not be able to upload or download, you can do that as well. And then coming back to the left side, definitely wanted to cover the functionality that Ryan spoke on and the ability to plug into other file repositories from within ShareFile. So I have a couple listed over here, you'll notice. So I have a Box account is actually linked to ShareFile. I haven't set it up yet, but if I were to authenticate into Box, I would see my files that are stored in there. I do have my OneDrive connector set up. So if I click on OneDrive for Business, these are all documents that are actually stored within OneDrive, but I'm accessing them from within ShareFile. So I can navigate into this accounting folder. I can right-click on a document and share it out from within OneDrive.
Cool.
Do we have any questions in the chat yet?
No additional questions at this time.
Excellent. Great. So that is it for the web portal piece. So next we'll move into e-signature. So if I come back into my demo folder, obviously the goal that we talked about kind of towards the beginning of the call is the goal of Citrix and ShareFile is to make it very easy to use and be intuitive for your users as well as intuitive for your clients. So in that vein, the ability to send a document out for e-signature is very simple. You just right-click on the document, click this button that says Send for Signature. And that will take me into the Right Signature platform and allow me to prepare the document to be sent out for signature. So if I hit Prepare, I can come in here and type in who I want to send the document to. For this example, I will send it to my personal Gmail account and then show you what the signing process looks like on the back end. Important thing to note here is that if you have multiple signers on one document, you can add them as well as set the order in which you want them to sign. So if you wanted to have something sent to one client first and then not have the other client receive it for signature until the other person has signed it, you can do that. That's a very common use case we see, especially in the legal space.
Yeah, it's a nice workflow. Very nice.
It is very smooth. So for this example, I'll just keep one signer to keep it short for us. And next is where I'll place my fields on the document. So over here is where you'll have all your different options available, things like checkboxes, initial fields. You can even collect payment through this platform if you would like. So I'll come over here and drop a text field next to my name, resize it, make it look a little nicer. Do the same thing here. Take a checkbox and drop it in here. And then a signature box here. And you'll see it's very easy to just resize the box when it's on. Once you place it on the sheet, you just drag the corners. And we also have a neat little feature called field detection that if you come down here and turn it on, and I go to drop a signature box, it will actually read the size of the line and map it directly to that line to clean things up a little bit.
Cool.
So I take a date field, drop that right there. Click next. If I'd like, I can add a little message here to personalize the document. I can also set an additional passcode on the document if I wanted to communicate a password separately to the recipient for additional security parameters. You can also set the link to the document that the end user receives or that the signer receives to expire within a certain amount of time. So I will send this off and show what the signing experience looks like.
And those are important security features, right? You don't want some of these documents lingering out there for some period of time, and then often you need the signature within a certain period of time. Gmail's usually a little bit faster than that.
It is a little bit. I was working this morning, so
Okay.
hopefully not too much longer. There we go. So here you'll see that document that was sent to me. So the information that you see in the recipient field, or sorry, the sender field and who the document comes from, you'll obviously see that it's from Scott Dawson. So it's from a trusted party, somebody that hopefully your clients as well as your business partners would know that it's coming from you. You can also customize what appears in the subject line when a document is sent as well. So the recipient receives this big blue button right here where they can click review and sign document. And that takes them into their web browser where they see the document and all the fields available to them. So this handy little red arrow over here points them to where they need to go. They can just type in their name, all the required information. And when it comes to the signing process, they have a couple different options. If they're signing from a mobile device, they can use their finger to sign. If they're on their computer, they can click and drag with their mouse. That tends to be a little bit sloppy sometimes, so I like the option of typing in a neat signature.
Very nice.
Makes it look much cleaner. Select today's date. And then, oh, I missed this checkbox field here. So you can make these optional when it comes to checkboxes, but I made both required when I sent it, so it makes me check it. Click Submit Signature. They'll receive information about the eSign Consent Act and terms of use for the platform. Click Submit. And then all parties receive a signed copy of the document sent to their email, as well as if I come back into my ShareFile folder that I originally sent the document from. And I
got a couple of
refresh
questions
the
for you,
page.
Scott, when you're checking.
Sure.
So two questions. One is if you've got a married couple signing e-file forms, but you need to set up a ShareFile account for each person.
You do not. So the great thing about the e-signature platform is that it does not require the recipient or the signer to download any tools or create any accounts or logins. You would simply assign them as a signer when you go to set up the document at the beginning, and assign them a role as either signer 1 or signer 2. And then when you're dropping the fields on the document, you can set specifically who you want to sign those documents. So if a husband needs to sign one place and a husband and wife need to sign in another place, you can create separate fields for each person. No downloads, no account logins or anything.
Super, super duper. And then the other question was, which level of ShareFile includes the analytics piece?
So that would be an additional add-on. It's called Citrix Analytics for Security. It is an additional add-on above any of these ShareFile offerings. It's a separate offering.
Okay. Is that something that integrates with other components of ShareFile? I know of Citrix. I know Citrix has certainly developed some very interesting security tools that monitor analytics around their NetScalers or access to the Zen app or Zen desktop. Is that one and the same, or this one that's a specific for analytics for ShareFile?
It is one and the same. So the analytics platforms that we have recently introduced, which are Citrix Analytics for Security, as well as Citrix Analytics for Performance, all of those would cover or basically serve as an umbrella over all of your entire Citrix environment. So not just ShareFile. So if you're leveraging what used to be called Zen App and Zen Desktop, which is now called Virtual Apps and Virtual Desktops, it will also look at user activity and user behavior from those environments.
Sweet. Yeah, and many people use Citrix's Virtual Apps and Virtual Desktop tools. For those of you who do use it, we're not going to get into it on this call, but it's certainly a very interesting capability that Citrix has been adding around security and performance to their tools, knowing what IP addresses are hitting your, well, formerly known as your NetScalers, whether they're coming from the US or outside of the US. It's very interesting analytics around that. So if you haven't looked at that already, I would certainly recommend that.
Any other questions in the chat?
No.
Great.
Is there a size limit for the documents?
There is not. So the technical size limit is 10 gigabytes. However, you would almost never, I've never seen a customer or a company that has a file that's up to 10 gigabytes. You'd probably be talking about, I'm pretty sure the analogy that we use is the entire Lord of the Rings series would be that amount of movies. So you probably will be never worrying about file size, fortunately.
Okay. And then Carol asks, is the ShareFile desktop being eliminated? I'm assuming that means the application.
It is not. So it still exists. I can talk through it briefly if you'd like. I don't have it downloaded on my machine, but I can speak to it briefly. It essentially serves as this interface, but available as a local application. So if I come over here and go apps for Windows, it's down here and downloadable from right here. And you might be able to tell in the little screenshot, but it essentially is the exact same platform that you see here, just as a local application. And then the next tool we'll be talking through is the Citrix Files for Windows, which is the one that mounts ShareFile as a mapped drive in your File Explorer.
Excellent. Thank you, Scott.
The last thing I wanted to call out on e-signature, which you might have noticed already, is that once the document is signed, it actually will return back, a signed copy of it will return back to the ShareFile folder where the document was originated from, along with a signature certificate that includes information about where the document was signed, when it was signed, has my signature included in there, as well as a full audit history of activity on the document.
Sweet.
Excellent. So that is it for e-signature. So we'll move on quickly to the Files platform, as well as the Outlook integration. So if I can find my mapped drive, there we go. So you'll notice that it sits over here, just like a mapped drive on your File Explorer, like Ryan was explaining to us earlier. And you have all the same folders that are included in your web portal. So it's your ShareFile account as a File Explorer. I can navigate into any of these folders that I want to and have the exact same folder structure. You can also have it set up to selectively sync. So I actually have that enabled for my account so that only the files and folders that I use most regularly are actually synced within this tool.
Cool.
And that's it. So next we'll move on to the Outlook integration. And again, that is another very easy download, and the settings for it sit up here in the top right corner, as well as the tool itself sits in the top right corner of a new email. So what I will do is show both the sending of a file through the plugin, as well as requesting of files. So I have this PDF document that's sitting on my desktop. I will just drag and drop it and attach it to my email like I normally would. Come up here and click this blue S that says Convert Attachments. And what that does is uploads that document into ShareFile and then generates a link to the document that is secure when it is sent in transit. So Jim alluded to earlier bank level encryption or 256-bit encryption, which is the requirement that financial institutions, including banks, require of documents being sent in transit. That is exactly what ShareFile abides by. So if, for example, a malicious actor or a bad actor were to try to intercept this email after I send it off, they would just get this image right here. They would not be able to actually see the link as the link is encrypted in transit. So I will send this off to my Gmail account to show you what the inside looks like. And before I do that, I do want to talk about the requesting of files from within this tool. So if I wanted to, for example, instead of send a file out to somebody, say I want to request a file back from someone or provide them with an upload link, come up here and click this Request Files button. And that will insert a secure link with customized text into the body of the email wherever my cursor was. And another common practice that we see is a lot of customers will put the secure link in their email signature. That way, users will always have a way to upload files to their secure link by going back to any old email. So I will send that email off and go back to my Gmail inbox. Make sure it leaves my outbox first. So Gmail might take a little while to load, and the ShareFile emails do tend to take a little bit longer than the e-signature emails to come through. So you might have to wait a couple seconds before that ShareFile email comes in.
Okay. Just looking at time, we got about 9 minutes.
Sounds good. So this is actually the confirmation email from my e-signature document, which is great. So we'll wait a second while the ShareFile email comes through. There it is. So you'll see, obviously, the exact same email that I sent out of my Outlook. If I want to download or access the document that was attached, I just click this Download Attachments button. Opens a web page, which doesn't require, again, any downloads for your recipients, doesn't require them to create an account to log in with a password because the document itself was sent securely over email. So all I have to do to access the document is type in my name and email address. You can require a password if you would like, but not necessary. Click Continue. And there's the document available to me. If I have download permissions on it, I can download it.
Hey, Scott, there's a question. Is there a way to prevent users from sending documents anonymously?
Let me think about that one for a second. So anytime a document touches ShareFile or is sent with one of the ShareFile tools, it will always show the user who sends the document. I don't know if that directly answers the question. I'm trying to think of a better way to phrase it.
Yeah, there's always some audit trail. There's always some audit trail of who sent what, and right?
Yep, that is correct. So the entire ShareFile platform is auditable. There's a audit and reporting section that admins have access to that allow you to run reports on usage on the account, all files that were shared, when they were shared, who they were shared with, who they were accessed by, who they were downloaded by. So all of that information is accessible at any time.
Okay. Force password only was the follow-up to that question. Is there a way to prevent users from sending documents anonymously? Force the password only?
You can. You may require a user to enter a password every time that you send it, and you can enforce that across the entire account as well.
Super. Thank you. We got about 5 more minutes. If anybody has any other questions, if you could put it up there, that would be super. Okay. All right, Scott, all yours.
I think that was all I had.
Okay, great. Super. ShareFile is a pretty ubiquitous product, and many people use it out there. We wanted you guys all to know what some of the other capabilities around it, around the e-signature, the Office 365 integration, the workflow, the analytics. It's a pretty robust platform. Integrates closely, like I mentioned earlier, and a lot of folks use other Citrix's products. Works very closely with their Workspace Platform. Cornerstone's a Citrix Gold partner, and be happy to follow up. And it was some good questions in here, but if you have any other questions, there's my contact info, phone number, email address. I know we're going to record this and post it up on our website, so it's available for some other folks if you have anybody else that's interested in it. I know we always send up some follow-up emails saying, hey, if you want any more questions, so don't be shy to ask for either a more in-depth demo or some pricing, etc. Happy to help. Let's see if there's any other questions that came up. Yep, and thank you. A couple of thank yous in there. Thank you all for joining. I'll give you back a few more minutes of your day. Scott, great demo. Thank you very much. Ryan, always great to do a webinar with you guys. Stay tuned. There's always a lot of Cornerstone webinars coming up as people prepare for their budgets for next year. We get a lot of questions about whether it's Citrix products or document management products or Microsoft's cloud platform. We're always happy to present on technologies that we know well. So if anybody has any questions about or would like to see some details around a technology, I know, like I said, it's budget season, so a lot of people are looking at the different products and what to include in their budget for next year. Please feel free to reach out to me. We'd be happy to put together a webinar. Also, thank you to our marketing manager, Adriana, who always puts this all together very quickly, kind of the magic behind the scenes. So big thank you to her. So thank you all. Enjoy your day.